Hey guys, in this review, we're comparing our beloved Ninja Slushie to this commercial behemoth, the Mojgar 15-liter capacity slushie machine and margarita maker.
Well, that's news.
So we use our Ninja Slushie at least once a week, and I have an in-depth review on the Slushie that you can check out here. I have very few complaints about the Ninja Slushie. We bought this machine and paid $300 for it, and so far it has been a family favorite. My only criticism, and this might not be a problem for you, is the size of the vessel. 64 ounces is just not large enough for my family of 9. Also, we love to pull out the Slushie for parties, and I am constantly refilling it to keep up with the demand. But this unit is actually pretty awesome, and I'll get more into why I really appreciate it throughout this video. But my largest and really only complaint is the size. And that's where this big dog comes into play. The Ninja Slushie has a 64 ounce or half-gallon capacity. The Mojgar has a 3-gallon capacity. That's 6 times the capacity of the Ninja Slushie. Look at this, just the vessel alone is almost the size of the entire Ninja Slushie. Now, I paid full price for the Ninja Slushie, but Mojgar reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to give a real slushie machine a try, so I said sure, why not. I wasn't sure what to expect, but this thing came FedEx freight in a wood crate. It took me a minute to unpack, and I was honestly surprised by the size. I actually thought it would be larger for some reason. Oh, this isn't that big. I didn't weigh this unit, but Mojgar states it's 66 pounds, and that's probably about right. You can see here it fits on a counter. I mean, you wouldn't want to leave it here, but it fits. Installation was pretty straightforward. The instructions were easy to understand. There were a few parts that needed to be greased, and even though installation was more difficult than the Ninja Slushie, it still wasn't hard. Actually, the Ninja Slushie really didn't need any installation. It came pretty much ready to go. I cleaned up these parts on the Mojgar and did a quick leak down test to make sure everything was working before I ran it the following day. No leaks and everything looked good. One thing that I thought was weird was my unit had a vinyl wrap on it that was peeling, and underneath the vinyl was this very nice stainless steel. Now, this wasn't a protective coating that you peel off, this was meant to be on there, and it was pretty banged up. I went to town and ripped it all off. I have no idea why you would ever cover stainless steel with a vinyl wrap, but I fixed it and it looks great now. My unit came with a few spare parts, which I thought was a nice touch. Okay, let's make slushies. Now, one thing I really appreciate about the Ninja Slushie is it's pretty versatile with what it can do. As far as sugar content, the Ninja Slushie requires a minimum sugar percentage of 4%. Now, I have made all kinds of drinks and threw in all kinds of liquids into this thing without ever a thought of sugar content or percentages. Everything I have put into this thing has slushified with the utmost excellence. Upon reading the Mojgar manual, it states you need at least a minimum of 14% combined sugar and alcohol content. So for instance, if your sugar content is 4%, your alcohol content needs to be 10%. If you're just using sugar, the minimum sugar content needs to be 14%. Anything below 14% will result in ice forming and damage to the machine. So say you want to add juice or soda to the machine, you need to calculate the sugar percentage to make sure it's enough. You can read labels and calculate the sugar content by dividing the sugar by the serving size and multiplying that number by 100. So this mug root beer has a sugar content of 11.94%. That means I would have to add sugar to this for the Mojgar, but the Ninja can handle it all day long. On this first slush, the root beer is a little runny, so I made an adjustment to compensate. One of the nice features of the Ninja is that it will give a warning if the sugar content is too low or too high. If it's too low, the liquid could freeze into solid ice, and if it's too high, it won't freeze at all. Now with the Mojgar, I needed to make sure I had enough sugar, so I bought a Brix refractometer. Basically, this is a simple device that measures the sugar content in a liquid. You put a few drops on the prism, close the plate, and hold it up to a light, and you should see an image that looks like this. From here, you can see if you're at 14% or if you need to add more sugar. Most slushie mixes that I found were close to 14% and didn't need any additional sugar. But this is nice to have on hand if you want to make your own slushie mix, which I definitely plan to do. For this review, I picked up this brand Hypothermias from Amazon, and I chose them because they were the only ones I saw that use cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. Also, on their website, you can order these dye-free, which I definitely plan on doing. For the Bills game, I have both units going, and this half-gallon jug will make a total of 2.5 gallons of slushie. So you mix these at a 4-to-1 ratio. So 1 64-ounce jug of the slushie mix and 2 gallons of water. In my test, these were pretty close to 14% sugar. I'm making mango in the Mojgar and black cherry in the Slushie. The minimum fill amount on the Mojgar is 2 gallons and the max fill is 3 gallons. That's considerably more than the Ninja's minimum fill of 16 ounces and max fill of 64 ounces. So unless you're catering to a large group, the Mojgar might be too large for you. That's why I wish there was something in the middle. I think a 1 gallon tank would be perfect. For the Ninja, I did the same ratio, just in a half-gallon batch. The Mojgar took about an hour to slush, and the Ninja was a little faster, but it had much less work to do. Keep in mind these times will vary based on the temperature of the liquid you're using. Here's a tip: keep your liquid chilled if you want to give these machines a jump start. Let's talk about the control panel on the Mojgar. As you can see, the Ninja user interface is very user-friendly and easy to understand without too much instruction. The Mojgar control panel is extremely rudimentary, but you still need to look at the instructions. These A, B, and C settings are for the units with multiple tanks, so for this unit we're only concerned with A. It has 2 settings, slush and juice. It has 10 levels of viscosity adjustment, and the default level is 4, but I found 6 worked the best for us. At level 4 it did flow nice, but we like it a little thicker. For our Bills party, both the Ninja and the Mojgar worked flawlessly. But the Ninja did get more love because the black cherry flavor was really good. If I had put the black cherry in the Mojgar, I wouldn't have had to refill it multiple times, and that's why I am formally recommending to Ninja to increase the capacity. 64 ounces is just not large enough. The mango was very good as well, just not as good as the black cherry, to us anyway. I'll leave a link in the description for everything I'm using. So how do I think these two machines compare? They both work very, very well, and they do what they're supposed to do. I do think the Mojgar would fit better in a commercial setting, as it's quite large and it is somewhat loud. Mojgar states it has a decibel level of 45, and I didn't get that on my unit. Mine was closer to 75 decibels. And I got a reading of 60 decibels on my Slushy, so the Ninja is quieter. Also something to consider, the Mojgar costs over twice as much as the Ninja, but that's to be expected with a commercial unit that is 6 times the capacity. I think the Ninja is a great machine. I think it works incredibly well, and it is so versatile with its drink options. The milkshakes were some of the best we had. I just wish it were double the size, but that might not be an issue for you, and if it's not, it's a great machine. 2 thumbs up for me for ease of use and versatility. I think if you need something with a little more output with less options, this Mojgar works great and turns out some great slushies. It's better suited for a high volume setting like a bar or restaurant, and it can run indefinitely in juice mode, so you can leave it running overnight if you wanted to. You can run the Ninja for 12 hours, but I'm not sure why you'd want to. That's it for this review. We hope you enjoyed it. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.